phone. Today's tip tries to reinforce the idea that efficient use of time and a certain sense of regularity and persistence in practice can help overcome even the most mountainous of challenges. Now, from the previous tip, where we had discussed the benefits of splitting our practice into at least 2 practice sessions per day, separated by a gap of a few hours in between, the next question that assumes immediate significance is how much duration should one assign to each of these practice slots? Over the years, I've realized that whatever duration you set yourself for each practice slot, what's more important is that you try spending every minute of it such that you make it count. Now, we all understand that each one of us leads busy lives in which we want to squeeze in time for some quality practice. Now, the keyword here is quality over quantity, which leads me to the tip of the day, which is time box each practice item in your session and try to enforce it as strictly as possible. Now, there will be tips that deal with practice items specifically, but those will be coming later in the series. For now, let's focus on time boxing. Now, if I were to take an example, let's say you assign yourself 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes late in the evening. And let's say you're currently working on 3 practice items, namely, first one, the study of chords and inversions in a certain family of chords. 2, sequence patterns in a particular group of scales, and 3, study of arpeggios, again in a certain chord family. Now, by time boxing, I mean assigning each practice item a certain number of minutes. Now, what I like to do is I use the timer application on my mobile, and I've set a few timers here. As you can see, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, so on and so forth. You could also use an egg timer or the timer on your digital clock or laptop or whatever comes handy to you. Now, what's left is dividing the 30 minutes into these 3 practice items. So I'll probably assign 15 minutes to the first practice item, 10 minutes to the second practice item, and 5 minutes to the last practice item. Now, you'd be thinking, why couldn't I assign 10 minutes to each one of those practice items? Now, I want to share the fact that I like to assign a greater duration of time for those practice items that are new to me or those that I'm not really conversant with. And for those practice items in which I've already done the large share of thinking and it's just the motor skills that I want to rehearse, I assign a lesser amount of time. Now, when the buzzer goes off for that first practice item, stop immediately, gather all your resources, arrange all your resources for the second practice item, start the timer for the second practice item and go for it. Similarly, when the buzzer goes off for the second practice item, arrange all your resources once again for practice item number 3, start the timer for that practice item and go for it. I'd like to stress on a few things about this approach. Now, you'll probably agree with me when I say that it's quite common for guitar players to while away their time noodling on the instrument, all in the name of practice. Now, this is really not helpful in building long-term memory, which is what you're really after in the first place if you've chosen to sit down and practice. 2, when that buzzer goes off, don't feel guilty to stop immediately and move on to the next item, even if your work feels incomplete. Remember, against our own internal yardstick, no work is ever going to be perfect. At every level, it could still feel like a work in progress. Also, the next practice item requires your due consideration too. In fact, it requires its designated share of time. Finally, when changing quickly from one practice item to the next, you need that all your required resources are available at an arm's length. By which I mean you could probably require your laptop, a book, music sheets, metronome, whatever have you, so that you don't waste time in trying to gather for those resources just then and instead focus on your main practice content. So, once again, the practice tip of the day is time box each practice item in your session and try to enforce it as strictly as possible. And when that buzzer goes off, stop immediately and move on to the next practice item.